I've got to flip over and like the thing that's unfortunate about this is like whenever I'm running live, if I
Yeah.
window away from the particular application that I'm working on with this, it kind of
Hmm.
freezes the screen. So, um,
Ah.
all right, we are up and running on my side of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit new game, and we'll jump right into this.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah, we are.
Subscribe to my chat. Kidding.
So, I've got a special guest with us here today as we kind of play through Mega Man Legends. This is Photo Negative Mickey. He's helped me a
Aye.
ton with he 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 pretty much made an entire thumbnail for my Hyper Metroid run, and on top of
Yeah,
that,
Hyper
he's
Metroids is basically how I met you.
and
Like, I said, one day I was just going through YouTube, and then my recommendations was a stream for Hyper Metroid, and I was all like, why not? There's a Hyper Metroid stream. I ran into that game at one point. Never had a good look at it, so why don't I just watch someone play it? So I just joined, and there you go, and just started getting into it.
with that, you made the thumbnail for me, and like that was kind of like the first like really huge thing that just like a random person who's kind of stumbled upon my channel has done. So like whenever you sent me
Yeah,
that message with that thumbnail, it was just just holy
I
shit of
know.
a moment for me.
Like somebody took their time to make something for you, and it's happened to you, and something like that you just never would expect.
And with that, like we've talked, at length since then about trying to get to do something together, and this is kind of like the first like attempt at doing something like that. Mega Man
Yeah,
Legends is a very lengthy game, and there's like a lot of just kind of mindless exploring that kind of comes between the story of it and such.
I
So
just saw him rub his face across the floor. Okay.
he had to dive through there Indiana Jones style. I'll try to
This
get
is an
into a little
Indiana
bit of
Jones
the
ripoff.
I'll try to get into the details of the game here shortly. We're kind of going through tutorial land here right now, so it's going to be a little bit slow to start because I'm going to get stopped like every second for them to tell me basic controls.
Do you prefer Mega Man in its 2D or 3D? I nearly said 4D for some reason, or its 3D style. Which would
Um,
you prefer more?
Honestly, like I wish that the 3D stuff was done just a little bit better. Because this
But
kind of
this,
format for it does work pretty well. Like in its kind of idea, you can kind of tell in these games that they struggled a little bit with getting it to work, perfectly. Mega Man Legends 2 does a much better job of kind of, like ironing it out a little bit.
well, this game is from like 1997, so you can't really blame it for its generation. Like back then, they would have saw this as the next big thing.
Oh yeah, like this, like compared to what it could have been and everything like that, like it still did a good job back then, but I will say like it doesn't hold up quite as well control-wise as you would think that it would.
Yeah, I mean, like
S-
it does have better graphics from like Super Mario 64, something
uh,
like that.
this game actually did come out like roughly around that time, I believe. There is a version of this game on the Nintendo 64.
Oh, would you say that like has the same graphic style, or does it look different?
I think it does look, like just a little bit graphically worse. I think that the audio is kind of like the biggest difference on there for it because they weren't able to like, quite as well capture the, like the audio and everything on the N64 format. But I think that's like the biggest difference in the two versions.
You know how you like playing all these old games and that?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say about today's genre of games? Like, what do you think about the most recent ones that came out these days, 2017?
I think that the games themselves are honestly not too terribly bad, but the biggest issue that I have with the modern games is just kind of the like the big controversies that kind of go behind them, and like I won't get way too much into it just because it's an old dead horse at this point. But I played Resident Evil 7 on stream before, and I basically came out and said that it was like the best progression that they've made from the series since
Was
you know.
that Biohazard?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I thought so.
But yeah, like I honestly think that like there's a lot of amazing ideas out there. It's just kind of the act of actually getting those ideas kind of realized without like all of the controversial things that have been kind of coming out lately with them.
Have you heard about Metroid Prime 4?
I absolutely have, and thanks to another friend of mine, I actually now have a capture card. So whenever I get to a point where that game comes out, I will absolutely have a way to stream that.
Oh, I'd be there because like Metroid Prime isn't really like my favorite type of Metroid game with 3D first person style. But because of it being Metroid, I like to I'd like just watch it, see how it goes. I mean, like there's always been wars. I've heard about wars between of which Metroid game is better, either between Super Metroid and Metroid Prime. Never thought Metroid Prime was that popular, be compared with Super Metroid at its time.
They honestly they both have their own really great things about them. Unfortunately, I've only really played Metroid Prime 1, so I kind of base my whole entire impression of that one off of that game. But the thing that I like about the 3D ones is it kind of really emphasizes that sort of looking around the environment and actually getting to take in all of these environments that you're kind of going through.
But do you prefer 2D Metroid or 3D?
I kind of am more fond of the 2D Metroids, and I'm a little bit biased because I've played Super Metroid so much, and that's by far my favorite. But even Fusion and Zero Mission, I love both of those equally as well.
Yeah, I do prefer more 2D Metroid because it feels like it's more of an experience. It's why I prefer AM2R over Nintendo's newest Metroid game, Metroid Samus Returns, because I'm only going to be getting the new Metroid 2 remake, um, the new official one for DS, is because AM2R does not feature DS versions, and I do like the Metroid series, so I'd give it a shot one day if I had to.
Absolutely. To get back to the game here just a little bit to kind of just really briefly kind of explain kind of what this one is and kind of where it fits into Mega Man. This is actually probably, as far as I'm aware, the farthest ahead in the Mega Man timeline. There's a lot of debate on kind of what exactly has transpired since then, but this actually takes place even further in the future from the Mega Man Zero series, which was all about this thing called the Elf Wars. The Mega Man canon gets really, really fucked the later that it goes into the series, but this is essentially kind of after everything happens and the world has basically nearly been destroyed several times over. This is kind of the, I would say, post-apocalyptic world, but it's kind of more of just the world being reset into its own kind of thing. The Mega
The
Man that we
first
have
time,
here is actually not quite the same Mega Man that we know from, the older classic games. He's kind of more of a treasure hunter kind of guy in this universe.
this is my first time ever watching a Mega Man game properly because I was never very fond of the Mega Man series before. I've only heard bits of it, I've only seen clips of it, but by watching the stream, I'm actually getting a good look at one of the Mega Man games. So it's like my first time actually experiencing it properly.
Yeah, and this is probably the most different from all of the series. Most of the other games are actually kind of focused on being side-scrolling platformer games, all the way up from Mega Man 1 all the way up to X8, which is kind of the full kind of I guess the timeline of the base games. And then from that point, you get into Mega Man Zero and all of the associated series with that, which are also side-scrolling, but those are all on handheld devices.
What's your favorite game? One of the old games, from like the SNES or some old stuff like that.
That it's kind of a multifaceted answer that I have for that one. A lot of the my favorite games do come from the SNES era. Chrono Trigger is kind of my RPG pick from that era. On top of that, there's obviously like any of the Mega Man games. Like I can't really like easily rank those, but I would say that 6 definitely is up there on my favorites as well as 3.
Mm.
And then Final Fantasy VII probably as one of my big favorite RPGs, much to the controversies and arguments behind those.
By watching right now, I hardly have a clue what's happening, but I would turn on sounds, but like that, I may not be able to like hear you at some point. So like, it's a shame Discord doesn't have like a screen, not a screen share. I mean, we already are sharing screen, so I wouldn't be able to tell what's happening right now. But if I had audio share, then I would be able to understand what's going on from voice clips to dialogues,
Yeah, and
sound
this
effects,
is
all
before
that.
the world of subtitles as well, and I'm intentionally keeping the sound on the stream itself actually a little bit quiet, so it's kind of
They
one of
didn't
those
have,
things that unfortunately, like just given the nature of this, it's going to be a little bit hard to kind of take in like all of the story that this game has to offer.
they didn't have subtitles back then. Well, that's kind of true.
But
Well,
pretty much what's happened at this point is we just finished raiding like just one of these dig sites, and we get these things called refractor crystals, which are essentially like the equivalent of like gold and like money and currency, and as well as
wait,
like a power source in this game.
wait. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. It's what I mentioned about earlier.
Okay.
Oh, I'll be back soon. Just something.
Yep, I'll fill in the space. I'm pretty decent at that at this point. So pretty much what's happened here is we've just kind of crashed down onto Catalog's Island because our ship is in very poor repair since, despite being treasure hunters, these guys are also a little bit not great at kind of saving up their money to kind of keep everything in check.
Megaman, Catalog's must have a town or a city somewhere. Think you could go take a look around?
So one of the big things that kind of happens here at the beginning of the game is just, this whole entire deal with trying to get established in the city. So there's going to be a lot of cutscenes coming up where it's just going to be, it's just going to be like the policeman coming up and being like, "Hey, we want you to go and get checked into the city. We want you to make sure that you're, like basically valid and everything." So I don't feel bad about like skipping a lot of the cutscenes or like like kind of talking over a lot of the cutscenes here, at least on like this first episode. Kind of going on later on down the line, like if I predict I'm going to be doing a lot of dungeon crawling or something like that, I might kind of switch to this sort of what I'm kind of temporarily calling a streamcast format, where I'll try to have somebody on and just kind of talk about like things here or there. But in terms of just kind of getting established, like once we get further into the story, that's where things actually start to pick up, and I might go back to kind of not talking over quite as much stuff.
Let me welcome you to Catalog's Island. Now, I'd like to ask one of you to come with me.
So one of the big things that this game does, kind of over like some of the other games in the series, is it like you get to develop different weapons, unlike the traditional Mega Man trope of going through and defeating a robot master and then earning their power. On this one, you basically are going to be doing a lot of what they call digging. It's pretty much just traipsing through dungeons, trying to acquire different parts and stuff so that you can make different weapons. There's a bunch of things that the game does, kind of to help with that. And like it's one of those things, like as you kind of get further in the game, you kind of get more of those options opened to you. So there will be times where I'm just kind of running around trying to like find things or just like explore and whatnot. um, there are like a couple of main things that you get in the beginning of the game that kind of really play through like the later parts of the game. So I will be focusing like kind of right now on just trying to get those various different things. The first one is just going to be like mines that you can pick up, and then from that point on, you can later on pick up and upgrade like different things like rollerblades as well. But in order to get started on this, we have to go through and get ourselves associated with the city. We kind of meet a couple of NPCs. We get to kick cans and make some money. Ah, God, come on. Despite being a wonderful, like superhero or whatnot, Megaman still has this deal where he's rooting around in trash cans a whole lot. I'm just doing a little Easter egg here with the can here. It'll take me a couple of tries to get it because the can doesn't quite operate the best. There we go. You get a little bit of extra money for pretty much cleaning up trash cans. You can find like various parts and stuff, and money inside of recycling bins and trash cans. With the trash cans, you can actually kick them, and if the lid doesn't pop up, then you can actually find that there is something inside of them. But once you loot them, they're empty and the top comes off. So the fun part about this is like I've played this like this part of the game pretty frequently, so I am like at least familiar with kind of the first little parts of what I'm doing here. It's gonna be later on in the game where kind of where things get a little bit different. I don't know if I have to talk to these guys to prompt this conversation first. Oh no, I think that's later in the game. Alright. So from this point we can continue forward. I think we can talk to the people in here right now. There is going to be a little bit of a... I say it's a side quest, but it's really not. I think this is actually the prompt for that. Alright, so we can go and, kind of get this going. With the combat in this game, there are these different buster parts that you can equip, and they kind of change your base buster to, like kind of different ways, like depending on how you have it set up. One of the things I'll probably be focusing a little bit less on is firing speed, because this game, as well as Mega Man Legends 2, has a little bit of a trick that you can do where you can kind of get a little bit of extra shots out. And like I've been trying to do it, but like a lot of times the buster in this game is a little bit in a not good way busted. So sometimes I just have to deal with what I get. But if you spam the forward key while you're pressing and holding the buster, then you can kind of fire off shots faster than you're supposed to be able to. So that, like, in terms of like tricks that I'm using for the game, there's really only like 2 big tricks that will like get primarily used. In this game especially, there aren't a whole lot of bosses that can't be easily defeated just by the good old-fashioned strafe, jump, and shoot. So unfortunately, like a decent chunk of the boss fights in this game are going to just boil down to avoiding projectiles while moving in a circle, and even regular enemies are, pretty victim to that. Come on, there we go. Yeah, and like the run itself is going to be like a pretty long effort. Like I don't foresee myself doing all of the like all of this game in one kind of run. over, kind of some of the other games that I've played on the channel before. So this one will probably be more of a long-winded effort, and hopefully, unlike my Chrono Trigger runs, hopefully I can actually kind of, kind of keep the episodic format going for these, and that's part of the inspiration behind trying to mix up how I actually play this game over some of the other ones. So what is the story behind this one? The story so far, anyway, is that we are just a treasure hunter, and our ship is broken down on this island, and we're just trying to eke out an existence of just we're pretty much just trying to survive and get off this island, and just continue to make money. As far as the bigger story, there is a lot of stuff that kind of happens later on, and we'll kind of get there as we get there. But basically, the world has kind of fallen into I keep wanting to say like this sort of like post-apocalypse or something like that. It's really not as chaotic as it kind of seems at first. So pretty much like the world has kind of flooded over for the most part, and there's these refractor shards, which like I said, are the currency that we're collecting, but is also like a power source to kind of like further improve technology and stuff around this time. And these people called the Diggers, and like they're essentially these dungeon explorers that go into these old ruins of the old world to basically try to find these refractors and try to find all these new treasures. And Megaman in this game is known as Megaman Walnut. He is basically he's also just one of these these treasure hunters, basically. This is actually, like, despite like kind of the dreadful sort of the dreadful nature of the game, this is actually like one of the more light-hearted of the Mega Man series, because of the fact that just so much of the kind of cast that's behind it, like the voice acting and just like the mannerisms of all the characters that you meet, it's actually like a really like I would say light-hearted one, and like the biggest appeal and draw of this game is just the charm that's put into the characters. And we'll definitely start to see a lot of that later on, like whenever I'm doing kind of future episodes of this. But just like the characterization in the game is like the big thing that makes this one kind of stand out, kind of from the other games. That, as well as sort of the first foray into like the 3D, kind of world with the series. Much like a sort of Metroid-style game, though, this game does have a lot of these sort of dungeon exploring mechanics like Metroid does, where that ledge up there, I cannot reach that yet, but later on I will be able to kind of craft some upgrades to get through that. Same thing with this wall here in the way. But we'll cross those bridges whenever we get there. Like, I'm just kind of going through here and trying to grind out a little bit of money, trying to just get this initial dungeon kind of explored out with what I can. There we go. I'm just going to stick to the strafe strategy with these guys, because they, it seems like it's a little bit
Guess
trickier
who's back?
Oh, hey,
Back
welcome
again.
back.
Yes, I finally finished my food. So I decided to pop into the chat while eating. You can see right there.
Yep. I hope you were able to kind of hear my explanation of all of that while you were eating.
Whoa, the story.
Yeah, like
I heard something about broken down ship, and I don't know. I'm kidding. Yes. So do you manage to find the parts more later on in the game for the ship, or is it just that you're stranded?
So, without giving away too terribly much, this game actually primarily focuses on this island alone. There is like one segment later on where you go a little bit off the island, but for the most part, this game focuses primarily on this island. It's not until Mega Man Legends 2 that that you actually kind of get to explore different islands and different places. But you know, like I think that both of them have kind of their advantages and disadvantages as a result. This game
I
definitely feels a
see.
lot more connected to itself, and you know, like a
What's the
lot of the.
main story of the Mega Man series, though?
Oh man, like that's a whole different egg. So so Mega Man is about, you know, our good friend Megaman here. He was created by a scientist called Dr. Light.
Dr.
He
Light.
Yep. Or Dr. Wright if you're from Japan.
Yeah, I'm not from Japan, easy to tell.
He worked alongside of a person called Dr. Wily, who was kind of his partner in crime, as well as you know, like kind of his partner just to help build these robots that were supposed to help kind of improve the quality of the world. So, for example, like they built a robot that was wholly built around, you know, helping with deforestation and stuff like that. There was a construction robot. There was a kind of like a trash disposal robot and stuff like that.
So basically a robot for everyday needs.
Yeah. And, you know, like the whole
Yeah.
entire purpose from Dr. Light's perspective is I want to build these robots with the intention of, you know, kind of helping out the world to kind of, you know, reduce the risk and reduce the kind of troubles that people experience on a daily basis. But Dr. Wily, however, was, you know, kind of wanting to use them kind of more as weapons and, you know, for malicious kind of reasons.
Oh, those people who want to just goddamn take over the world and all that. Once you do, what's the point? It's gonna end up being boring.
So the both Dr. Wily and Dr. Light kind of get into these fun little fights about this, and Dr. Wily decides, well, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna take these robots and I'm gonna reprogram them, and I'm going to take over the world. So that pretty
basically,
much
they're
kicks
trying to
off the
stop the
entire
robots?
series.
Yeah, they're trying to stop the robots.
Yep. Basically, he manages to reprogram the in the first game it was the first 6 robot masters. He is able to manage to reprogram all of the 6 robot masters that were created, except for this one who was this little helper robot named Rock.
Rock. Original.
Oh, this whole entire series is based around musical puns. So, like, especially in the Japanese versions of the game, you know, there absolutely is just like this big musical kind of element to this.
So that, oh my god, just when I hear music puns, I'm expecting them all to be bad.
They're pretty like I would say subtle in this one, and once again, like unless you're like playing this and kind of know like the stories behind most of them, you're really not going to see like anything come out like that's too blatantly like, you know, terrible or punny.
Funny.
So Dr. Light, you know, realizes, oh shit, my rival has basically my rival has
I just
basically
keep staring at
hijacked
that
my
monkey.
robots.
I keep staring at that monkey.
Data
I don't know
is an
why.
absolute, like, he is just an absolute just joy to this game, and he does so much to, you know, like, add to the character of this particular game in the series.
Just watching him, it's just, I don't even know what to say. I was even going to try and donate something to you there, but the broadcaster does not have donations enabled. Sad.
Yep. I don't have anything like that set up. Hey, the Batman joined the stream.
Hey, we got a Batman. Oh, my name is Bruce. Bruce what? Bruce Wayne. Why is Batman in here? Is he just chilling in his Batcave? Just found the stream.
He's just watching some Mega Man Legends. It's no big deal.
Oh, what a legend. But it did.
So basically, like, what happened just right here is, this city does have, like, this sort of way of kind of, like, keeping people in check and making sure that people aren't getting where they're not supposed to. So we just got our, citizens card to actually get into the city. The chat cave. Nice.
What I find weird is, it says for 5 people watch the stream. When I check participants, all I see is 2.
So
All right.
it doesn't record the people who haven't actually like responded to things. It only records like people who actually like kind of are in the chat itself. That's one of the unfortunate things about using the YouTube streaming over using say Twitch. Twitch
Okay.
actually records and kind of like gives you kind of like a list of pretty much
Oh, yeah.
everybody who is in the stream at the time. All right, here we
Yeah, I
go.
see what you mean now. Just type something absolutely random and yeah, it appeared. Strange, yeah.
But yeah, like so that's pretty much like the gist of like the entirety of the canon of Mega Man is this kind of eternal struggle between Dr. Light and Dr. Wily in trying to take over the world and save the world, kind of respectively.
Just one of those original ideas that hasn't appeared in like nearly every game ever.
Well, this one, like, I think that they've done a great job with it because, like, there's enough of this sort of, like, I guess, like, this sort of philosophical, like, kind of battle of philosophies over, kind of over what else is happening in the game. So basically, you kind of get this sort of debate of, like, is Mega Man actually helping? And he himself in the games kind of struggles with that as well. He's constantly like trying to fight with himself, trying to figure out like, is what I am doing the right thing?
I'm just trying to look around on Steam to see if there's any like free multiplayer games we could have a shot at. Have you? I know you played Friday the 1st, but you got anything like Dead by Daylight? Have you got that?
I've heard of that one, and like I think I've actually had a friend. It's either that or Dying Light. I've had a friend try to recommend to me before one of those.
Here we go, free to play. So what we got? Doesn't really look. I can't find anything, unfortunately.
So
Yeah, no,
like
no,
one of
but-
the good things about this particular game that I find like endearing is just the like just the degree of kind of creativity that kind of goes into this, and this is
Oh my god, it's for Lego Men.
Oh yeah, those are called the serve bots, and they are kind of the primary. I wouldn't say like the antagonists, but they're just kind of the primary minions in the game, essentially. Before
Oh,
the
God, it's
Despicable Me minions were
Despicable
ever
Me.
a thing.
Oh my god. But still, those things creep me out. I'm scared.
And as Batman just conveniently said, this is the debut of one of the family of Bonds, which is kind of the big bad guys that you fight in here. And I say big bad guys, but it's hard to kind of explain it without just basically saying they're a very endearing antagonist.
The big bad guys.
So this is
big
before
bad
the
guys.
this is before like the Grand Theft Auto 3 and games like that were out. So this is the official first game where you can run out in front of traffic.
Oh my! I get hit by a car.
Yeah, like this
Oh
was
my
like
God.
this was actually like right around the time that I believe Driver 2 was kind of coming out. So it was
What is
kind
it
of
with these games and not stopping to not hit you? They just drive into you and drive off like they just don't care.
well, they didn't really have
Whoops.
Yep. Let's get out of here. They didn't really have like the ability to kind of program that stuff. Is kind of the big catch here. Is this is right around the time that like programming wise we were just discovering and like just kind of getting into.
It just stopped there, or well, now it's going.
Must have had a little bit of a dip in the stream or something.
It was like, yeah, it's not like it heard what you said. It was like, I'm just gonna stop for you then.
But like
Surprisingly enough.
like this is kind of like right around the advent of just kind of starting to discover kind of AI and like really like getting into what's making it real. Like these are all just pretty much pre-scripted cars at this point.
So they like to just run on a path.
Yeah, like that's pretty much all it is. But you know, for this time frame, for this time period, that was still an impressive thing, just because you know, like there really wasn't like moving cars on like a 3D plane quite to this degree at this point. Like I said, Driver 2 was like the first real game that did the sort of open world, running around, you know, kind of having cars that you could actually steal, and like having people who didn't just run over you instantly. But yeah, like this, like just in this place alone, there's just so much character that kind of goes into like the areas. As you saw, like I can kick the vending machines, and then you know Mega Man kind of sweats a little bit at that. There's these little like nice little posters that you can kind of see around saying "Don't kick us," and
Don't kick us.
yeah, there's no pigs or like chicks in the game that you can even kick.
Maybe they kicked them so much they extinct.
Alright, I thought that there was something that I could find around this area, so I'm going to try to
What are
explore
you trying
just
to
a
look
little bit.
for?
What's up?
What are you trying to look for?
There is a certain, like there's some items that I can pick up here and I can develop into something that helps me with movement, but I might not be at a point in the game where that kind of becomes available yet, so I'm just trying to make sure that I'm, you know, clearing all this out before I kind of proceed with the story. Oh, damn it, okay. I was gonna try to do, just ride on the bus, but, yeah, like you can ride on the cars if they do stop, and like the buses are the best to do
magic
that.
scuba bus.
So yeah, like this is Tron. She's part of like the sort of antagonistic family of this, and you know, like they're all great, and like they all have some character. I'll try to be a little bit quiet for the stream whenever like the first cinematic kind of introducing them all comes up. But like I said, it's gonna be a little bit rough just with the audio on here.
Must be audio or not. That's good. I'm just gonna turn up the sound a bit, see what it sounds like.
Alright, hopefully we don't get any sort of feedback. I'll let you know if I start hearing it on my side.
What the hell was that sound? Oh my god, my voice sounds so stupid. Like you sound all clear. I just sound like I'm like in a metal room.
Okay, I don't think I'm supposed to be here quite yet. This is also one of those fun games where if you don't quite do things in the order that they want you to, you can sometimes get lost because the NPCs don't always necessarily tell you where you need to go. However, we do have one thing in this particular game that does ease that inconvenience, which is our monkey friend named Data. So if we ever get to a point to where I'm just like completely hopelessly lost in this game, I can go and talk to him, and he'll give me a hint about where I'm supposed to go next. So if I get stuck for too long, I absolutely intend on going and leveraging him.
I heard a voice break.
Yep, you will hear those a lot with me.
Oh, if only. Oh, that's a game that would be cool to see you try out.
What's
if
that?
it was on PC. Back in the day, I used when I like playing on my Xbox 360, I used to play a game called Blue Dragon. It's an RPG, and it's sorry about that. The characters like Shu, Kluk. I can't exactly remember all the names, but in this particular RPG, like you swallow some kind of odd blue glowing sphere orb thingy, and you get these powers where, like, yeah, you know how like the light makes you form a shadow.
Okay, yeah.
You can turn your shadow into a 3D creature. So, like, as you heard me when I mentioned it, Blue Dragon, like, yeah, like for Shu, his shadow goes from look in his shape, and his shadow comes out the ground as a dragon. So like, I really like its gameplay in that.
I'm
So
really
yeah, that would
hesitant
be
about
pretty
playing
interesting.
RPGs on the channel, like not because of anything short of if you look through my kind of channel history, I have a little bit of a bad tendency to on longer kind of games to sort of basically like kind of keep up with them. I tried to do a Chrono Trigger run with a friend of mine, but unfortunately, we just kind of like just didn't have the time to. Okay, I needed to go to the police station, I believe, so
Why is
that's what I
Blue
messed
Dragon
up.
only on Xbox 360? That's stupid.
You guys know there's a Mega Man 11 coming out? Absolutely, there is. That's
What do you
actually
know
one
the
of the
Mega
big
Man?
things that kind of moved me from kind of deciding what I wanted to play next to kind of playing this. Is a sort of miniature celebration of the fact that Mega Man 11 has been announced, and I'm cautiously optimistic about it. So basically, like there's been like a big gap in time between when Mega Man 10 came out and then Keiji Inafune, who is behind like the entire series, basically left Capcom. And, both of them have been kind of misbehaving in terms of, like kind of putting out games for the Mega Man series. And Keiji's last project was this game called Mighty Number 9, which was nothing short of a disaster, I would say. So Mega Man 11 is kind of Capcom's first Mega Man game in a post-Inafune world, and they seem to be treating it with a decent amount of respect from the trailer that they gave us alone. But we'll have to kind of see a little bit later on if they actually kind of if they stick to that or not, and if it turns out well.
Blue Dragon's on Xbox One. What? Oh my god. Oh my god, no way. Oh my god, it is. Let's try and dig it out someday then. It will be something to blast at again.
So you think they decide to put out Mega Man Legends 3? I would love it if they tried to put out Mega Man Legends 3, but I do hope that they bring it, like if they do, that they bring it to, kind of to the actual consoles and don't make it a 3DS title or a handheld. Switch I'm fine with, because the Switch is, just really great, and I need to pick one of those up soon.
Just don't taste the cartridges.
Oh yeah, I've actually heard a lot of stories about that.
People eating the cartridges.
There we go. This is what I needed to do. I was trying to figure out how to get in here because this is my next objective.
Oh my.
Basically, I forgot to talk to him.
Your voices went out weird there.
What's up?
Oh.
It's probably just the fun over the pond connection.
Hey, Mega Man! Come to check up on me, eh? Here, let me introduce you to the mayor of this island, Amelia.
So it turns out that our friend Professor Barrel, who pretty much takes the place of Dr. Light in this series, he actually knows the mayor of the city, so that's kind of how we're able to kind of get the help that we need to kind of get off of here. But shenanigans are about to ensue.
Speaking of mayor, the other day there was a Christmas festival on. My mum was actually running that festival for this year. And afterwards, the mayor of our area actually came into our house.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's crazy.
I guess that does kind of like, we got a little bit off topic of it, but one of the things I did want to kind of bring up while I do have you kind of guesting on here is you yourself make games.
Yeah, they're just fine games from FNAF, but at one point I am planning on making my own games, original ideas. Even my dad and uncle actually know about what I do, and they it's like just hit me with my ideas for when I actually get around to it. But I'm more of a graphics designer type of person, more than a coder type of person.
So what was it about the Five Nights at Freddy's, as you call it, the FNAF? What was it about that setup that kind of inspired you to kind of make your games based off of those?
Well, actually, FNAF didn't really make fan games. It was actually a fan game of Final Fantasy Freddy's, which made me get into it because it was one of the first fan games made was known as Final Fantasy Treasure Island, and one day in 2015 or 2016, it got cancelled fully, and the developer released the files to the public, so the game was never finished. So I actually managed to grab a hold of the files as well, and I just like downloaded the Blender for the first time, then just to see the rooms. One day I was all like, I want to try and revive it, and I didn't have Click Team. I tried Game Maker, but I was absolutely terrible with it. Until one day, somebody called Ashley Brownie, he sent me a link to download a full free version of Click Team Fusion because he owned one, so he decided to let me have a copy. And after that, I started learning it. I had a friend named Faithful Windows help me learn Click Team. Then as we went on, I started getting the hang of it. Then came another, then came another. My skills improved. My graphics design improved. Now today, I'm just like making my own assets, my own rooms, even sometimes own sounds.
So is Click Team Fusion, is that the system that you use, like the engine that you use to kind of make the game, or is that like a different software altogether?
It's coding. It's for the coding. Blender's for the modeling. I used Audacity for sound editing.
Hey, cut it out! Don't you know you can't treat girls that way?
So we basically have decided we're going to rescue Tron Bon here.
Down, boy. Down.
What's the dog doing? Is he having a seizure?
He doesn't like her, and we are basically trying to stop this dog from growling, is what that's supposed to represent.
Who's her? Who's her? Wait, what?
Right here she is.
Oh, that. Oh, she's not even holding onto the lamppost. Her hands are in the air. But this is an old game, but yeah.
So, like, kind of getting back to that, so you basically just kind of picked up just, like, all of these different pieces of software, and you kind of had essentially the framework of it, it sounds like, of, you know, kind of the fan game that was kind of released. So then you just decided to start making your own assets to it?
Yeah. So, like, the one I'm doing now is actually remakes of the old rooms. So, like, I remade the entire rooms from scratch. Managed to get some textures off Google, and yeah, so these sets I don't have to use the old assets the old creator made to try and revive it. And this particular version, it's my last version of it, but the last version is because there's a series called The Lost Ones, and this is meant to tie into it somehow. So like, I work with someone called Blackout. And like he made the entire Lost One series. He planned it all, and I just basically helped him by graphics designing it.
I know, like, a long time ago, like, the closest thing that I got to any sort of foray into game development was just messing around with RPG Maker. I remember, like, I started out actually picking up the first RPG Maker on the PlayStation, and that thing is just an absolute nightmare of a mess to learn how to use. So later on, I found out that there was a PC version that a friend of mine had, and he kind of, you know, lent me kind of a copy of that, and I messed around with that a lot. And I had some stuff going with a like a really kind of, I wouldn't say a good game, but like it was at least a nice little, I guess like sort of like an Earthbound equivalent, like anti-game sort of.
Well, yeah, I've heard of Earthbound, but I never played it.
It's like Earthbound, but minus like the like just basically like Earthbound, but minus like about 400,000 times the degree of quality, and that was my RPG Maker.
So basically, it's crap.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you know, like I'm not gonna pretend like I was good at what I did with it. Like I did this whenever I was like in high school. Yeah, I mean. And that's kind of the part of it as well, is like, you know, like it's not so much a matter of like, you know, oh, I'm just like completely horrible at it. It's just that I never took the time to actually like, you know, try to go further with it. And like, do I regret it?
Oh my god, your voice just went all over the place there. What is going on? What? Wait, what did you just kick? Was that a piece of bread?
It was a can on the ground. I've been doing that to, you know, basically get a little bit of extra money here at the beginning of the game.
No,
You can
no,
kick
no.
that
You are
can.
meant to pick up the can and put it in the bin, like that guy from Half-Life 2.
Anyone notice the metal plate on Tronbon's crutch? I'm assuming that's crotch, but it's just all part of the design of this. There's a lot of metal bars just strapped randomly. Like Megaman has one on his back.
Oh.
Where's Gramps?
So we're about to get to like the first point in this game where like the story actually kind of picks up a little bit, and we're gonna have to do a little bit of city defense here. So this is actually like one of the parts of this game that I do think is like pretty cool, is depending on how well or not you do in this part of the game, you can actually affect how long it takes for the city to recover afterwards.
Wait, so if you mess up, then it's not game over, then like, you have to wait until like the city like recovers, like you said?
Well, like you don't like it doesn't affect like your progression in the game, but like it's just like one of these little subtle touches where like the things that you do like in this part of the game affect kind of how long it takes for the city to, you know, kind of recover and come back. So, you know, like in the example of this part of it, you know, like if a building gets destroyed right now, then it's going to take a little bit of time before that building kind of comes back later on in the game. And you know, like it's one of those things like it doesn't ultimately affect like anything significant in the game, but it does like, you know, kind of add like a nice touch of seeing how you know, like your actions do partially affect the environment and the world.
Does Mega Man wear a helmet?
He does, but in this particular part of the game, like you don't get the helmet until a decent bit later on in the game.
So like you do get the helmet in the game and you just son up at the start.
Yeah.
You can't get in
Odd.
either. It's dangerous.
What's happening?
Dangerous.
So that the pretty much like the little like story arc that's going on at this point is just basically we crash landed here, so we're essentially outsiders to these people, and this is
Yeah,
kind
but
of
they
like
say
the
it's
first.
dangerous.
Yeah,
They
like
say it's dangerous when they're talking to a guy with an arm blast on his arm.
Well, I mean, like as far as they know, like you're just like, a guy who's just coming in to do some digging. Like they don't think that you're like this, you know, super powerful person. And at this point, you're not. You're just, you know, like you're just a person with a day job at this point. So they're pretty much saying, hey, it's dangerous, you're a bunch of kids, you shouldn't be here, and like this is kind of Mega Man's chance to actually earn the trust of the city by going up against these pirates.
So he's gonna, oh my god, how is he gonna stop them? Oh look, it's for Lego Man. Lego Man.
So this this is honestly like probably like the most annoying, I guess, like action segment in the game. These guys all have like a key that they like trade back and forth, and these are like 3 or 4 mini bosses combined with you know, like trying to save the city. And I pretty much need to try to get the key as fast as possible, which means I need to burn these 3 guys down, and they all have their own little perks to kind of, you know, mess with them. So like what I'm going to try to do is just sort of, you know, like the dominant strategy in this game really is to just, you know, kind of do this deal here where I'm strafe running with firing the Buster. If they hold still long enough, I can actually do a second one where I can basically spam my fire key and, you know, get a bunch of extra shots off on them. But for right now, it's just a matter of just like, you know, just fighting these guys, doing the strafe run technique, and trying to get the key. The faster I get the key, the faster I can move on to the next part of this, which is an actually fun part of the fight, which is the, you know, first significant boss battle.
Who's the boss?
Oh,
look, you got one.
I'll leave that up to, you know, like surprise for now, but it's, you know, like
Aw.
there's not a whole lot of characters that have been introduced at this point, so I won't tell you who it is, but it's not exactly a big mystery. All right,
Oh
there we
boy.
go.
Well, it's a bit of a mystery for me because I've never even seen a Mega Man game.
Oh man, like you'll have to tune into one of my Mega Man runs. Like I do plan to try to go back through and just like absolutely like blitz through 6 again at some point. So
Yeah, I'll be sure to check through one day.
another thing that you can do if you're really interested in seeing kind of more of the classic ones, I have like about 100 streams up of me playing through the
100?
various ones. No, I wouldn't say like actually 100. Like I barely have
I
like
was
60 or
about to
70.
say, you got a lot of time on your hands.
I've played through like all of them, you know, like a various amount of times, and unfortunately, I think I was still streaming on Twitch at the time. But I actually have this other one that I did, where I basically went through the Mega Man Legacy Collection, which is 1 through 6, and that one I've actually got. A thing that I did, what I called the Mega Marathon, where I basically played all the way from 1 all the way through 6, and pretty much
Got a
did it all
clever
in
name,
one
that.
stream. Oh,
Got a
God.
clever name.
It's partially like I won't take credit for the name. It's definitely not it's definitely not one that I came up on my own with. So I won't pretend like, you know, it's my my original IP. Please don't
Oh
steal.
my god. What the hell?
So this is the first boss. The Legos failed and they're really sad, so they go back to, you know, the person controlling them.
Yeah, you just look really sad there. Oh, it's her.
My eyes off you for a second, can I? Just you wait till we get back. You're in a lot of trouble. Oh no! Who was that? Wait, wasn't that the same boy as before? He disabled the Bloom Bears by himself? I don't understand. Whenever I
Silent.
Yep, I'm kind of trying to let the cutscene play out a little bit since you know, since
Well,
it's a
I
little...
can't hear anything, so I don't know when a cutscene is if I'm not looking at the
Yeah.
thing to my left.
So she kind of like throughout the whole entire series, she kind of has a crush on Mega Man, and it really does play into why I say that this game is honestly more lighthearted than all of the others, because, you know, like these guys are constantly antagonizing you, but they, you know, like they just find these like interesting ways to kind of make these you know, kind of antagonists of the series just so lovable.
Did you just say she has a crush on him?
Yep.
Why did she just nearly crush him with a robot?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like these guys are the like kind of the bad guys of this particular game, but like they don't really like portray in like the same way as like a you know, like kind of like in a different game. Like it's not like they are sitting here like, "Rawr, I'm the worst thing in the world." These guys are just pirates. I guess that's the part of the world that I hadn't really like kind of gotten into. As much as there are explorers and people who dig in ruins to kind of catch, you know, like treasure and stuff like that, there's also these guys which are pirates who, you know, I don't have to explain too much about it.
Don't look like pirates.
They loot and plunder, and they try to, you know, like take over cities and steal refractors.
Oh, okay.
This attack right here is a nightmare to dodge.
If you hear me shout out random numbers to myself, just ignore that. I'm just doing stuff in Click Team while watching, like just trying to do the rest of the coding. Because after the coding's fully finished, I just have to wait for some voice actors to do their stuff. Then go to release it. Man, I'm gonna have to get some beta testers first. So far, I'm gonna be getting too many people on my back saying that the game's broken when it's not. It just has bugs.
Yeah, like especially with like a lot of the games that have kind of come out recently, like it would probably be good to make sure that you do have the game kind of like, you know, in a good functional state, and like if there are issues, at least addressing that you are aware of them. Because that's like the big thing that like a lot of these games have been doing lately, that, you know, like really, you know, like is kind of ruining like the quality of them. Like they're good games in their own respects, but like the companies just don't want to admit that there's a problem with them. I probably could have made this fight go a little bit faster if I started dropping mines on her, but I really don't like the mines in this game.
Oh my gosh, she got it pretty quick.
I'm so. I mean, not bad. You're stronger than I thought.
She may be like covered in suit or whatever it's called.
Yep, because I kind of blew up her gigantic robot.
That's one slow ship.
I think for this first episode, I'm going to like I'm coming up pretty close on a point that I'll probably conclude on. Like I want to get through kind of this particular story arc, and then from that point, like I might make this a little bit of a shorter stream as a result, because I need to kind of catch up a little bit and just make sure of what I'm getting into. But I definitely wanted to get through all of this because this is what I kind of consider the annoying part of the game.
Do what you want. It's for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
a monkey though.
Oh, he is, like I said, he is an absolute, just like, he's a joy to see through this game, and you know,
just
like,
imagine him watching like a doomsday battle happening. He's just doing that dance.
he is absolutely adorable, and he follows you into the thickest of dungeons that you get into.
Okay, I don't like the fact he follows you everywhere. Sounds a bit weird.
He's kind of your assistant bot through this. The Mega Man series is known to have
a monkey.
Yeah, like he's your helper. Whenever there's a lot of backstory to this, and you know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense kind of hearing it out of order. But basically, Roll and Barrel found this version of Mega Man, and basically, you know, started raising him as just one of their own. But whenever they found him, they also found him with this little monkey robot.
Yeah.
So pretty much right here we are getting like
Wait, did you just look at that paper with her eyes closed?
She's just doing the typical anime thing of having closed Brock eyes.
Well, how can you see? I don't get it.
Oh yeah, and like you can't kind of hear what she's saying, but basically they got a report that this lone blue boy basically fought off the pirates in the main part of the town. So whenever he came running up right there, she was like, "There he is. He really is all alone."
All alone.
So this is like the real like defend the city part of this. What I'm essentially trying to do is take out all of these robots and, you know, make sure that they don't destroy like the key areas in the city. This is the part that I am concerned.
Trees?
Well, this guy is just focusing on trees, but he can also demolish things later on as well. Like I do have to eventually like destroy.
Trees.
I do have to eventually destroy all of these, but like I am trying to, like, there we go. This guy, for example, is actually trying to, you know, like actually destroy the thing proper. There we go. I dropped a mine on him, and that kind of did the trick.
Speaking of old games, on the PS1, I think there used to be this game I used to always play. I forgot what it was called, but basically, what you had to do, you work for like the law enforcement. You have this like giant robot like thing you can control, and it can turn into a vehicle as well. And you have to like stop criminals from like destroying places. I need to find out the name.
That sounds interesting. Like I love pretty much anything that has, you know, mecha or anything like that in it.
Well, if I manage to find it, you could perhaps stream it one day. I'm wanting to stream it, possible. I don't know that.
I'm absolutely down for that. Like, assuming that it, like, you know, like, I'll probably take a look at it at first and just kind of make sure, but, you know, like, I'm generally not opposed to, you know, like, kind of messing around with games like that.
Oh! I think I found it! Oh my god, there it is. Oh my god. It feels so weird seeing that again. Its name is Future Cop.
I feel like I've heard of that, but I'm not sure.
Oh my god, it's so weird seeing it again.
So this part's annoying not because of anything aside from the fact that you really can't fight these aerial guys that well. But I do think that I've kind of got this relatively under control at this point.
Looks like it.
I need to take this one out so I can get over to the other one that landed down there. There we go. Oh, they are dropping, you know, pretty quickly now. There we go. Yeah, see, like with the mine weapon, you can actually run into your own mines, and I think that's kind of bullshit. Alright, there was another.
Guys, it's a bit fair. It's like in Friday the 13th, the game when you're Jason, you place down a trap, you can't even step in your own trap. That's a feature they really need to add. But if Jason can step in his own traps like an idiot.
I don't know, like, I guess they do need to do something to kind of, you know, nerf his ability to kind of win fights, because holy shit, does he have a lot of ability to just, you know, just completely just truck through the enemies.
Because when he grabs you, you're basically dead. No matter what. Unless you have a pocket knife when you're in a tight area, yeah, you're dead.
I need to try to take these airships out, but unfortunately, like, they keep, you know, they keep going way too far around me. I forgot to do one thing, which is, you can actually get a machine gun, I think, before this, and I should have done that first, I think.
A machine gun? You have a... Wait, what?
It's one of the alternate weapons. Like, I've been dropping these mines to kind of fight these guys, and now I'm kind of out of energy for that, which
Well, you just take your arm. Well, you just take your arm blaster off and just pick up an AK-47, just start spraying it around or something.
Okay, I don't have the actual one for that shit. So like the sub weapon that I have equipped right now is the little deployable mines. And that's kind of like the primary thing that I've been using so far, because it's up to this point it's just about the only weapon that you can get. You can kind of get various different weapons kind of as you go through the game, so that's kind of what I'm trying to do at this point, is just you know, like trying to get to a point in the game where I can actually start collecting some of those.
Yeah.
Man, like in the second game, the little kind of stutter step shot works a lot better. In this one, it does not work as well. But this game has the advantage of the, you know, like using the strafe run technique does work a lot. Alright, let's see if I can get some of these things down. Oh shit. If the city hall goes down, it's basically game over and I'm gonna have to restart. And like that's the part that's the most annoying about this part of the game, is just dealing with, you know, trying to get all of this under control.
Does the town hall have a health bar?
It doesn't have an actual, like, one that I can kind of visually see. It's just basically, like, that little cutscene that played out is, like, the best that you kind of get with it. I think this red airship is, like, the last one that I have, so I need to try to... whenever he kind of comes back up, I need to aim for him. And the lock-on system in this game is a pile of garbage, as you can probably tell. Whenever they're too high up like that, I can't aim at them, and this game doesn't have really a sort of, you know, like aim your reticle sort of system on it. So I had to basically wait for them to drop down to deploy their stuff before I can hit them.
Oh my god, I'm watching some old videos of Future Cop. It's so strange watching it.
If I can get to the next part of this, I think I'll be fine, because that's the point where they stop actively attacking the... where they actively stop attacking the city hall and just send another boss at me. There we go. We got one of them down. There's the other one. Alright, I think we might be good, potentially. If I can get to the next part of this, I think I'll be fine, because that's the point where they stop actively attacking the city hall and just send another boss at me. There we go. We got one of them down. There's the other one. Alright, I think we might be good, potentially. So yeah, like I did a much less better job of protecting the like this part of the city as I did the other one, and you can kind of see like already that there is like a lot of damage kind of around the town at this point. So
What you think you can do better?
in the past I have, and like I couldn't remember if I was supposed to focus on the construction bot guys here first, or if I was supposed to primarily focus on the airships. I took a gamble and just focused on the construction bots, and it was actually the airships I needed to kill first. And I could have done a few things to have made that a little bit easier, like increase the range of my buster or something like that. But it's not going to be too bad of a deal. Like I think I'm basically like just cleaning up at this point. Okay, I see the last one way over there in the distance.
You think you're in the clear?
I think so. Like, I still have to get through a boss fight, but I have more than enough, like, I have more than enough resources to kind of get through that fight.
I'm guessing that's a weak spot by what it looks like.
No, these guys don't really, like, part of the nature of this game is it's really hard for them to kind of, you know, like, to get hits and aimed shots in general. So really, a lot of what it is just, you know, like, just aiming at them enough to hit them. And the game does have, like, a soft lock-on. So this is Baby Bon. I believe his name's also Bomb Bon.
Bon.
Very creative name.
I know, this is full of creativity.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually run him away from the city hall here a little bit. That way, whenever he inevitably decides to start doing a bunch of attacks. Okay, he's just gonna stay.
Oh no, he's coming back to it.
Yep. There we go.
Yeah,
I just
you
had
take
to
it out and go out on that lamppost.
There we go. So I just need to kind of keep him in the little pattern that I mentioned before, the good old tried and true strafe and run.
You keep burning like the sky is falling.
And, you know, like, I called him Baby Bon. It's because he actually is a baby, basically.
Is he?
Yep.
A bit big for a baby.
Little bit.
A little bit. I don't think that thing is anywhere close to how small my baby cousin is.
Okay, let's see if I can pull this back a little bit. There we go. So you get the equivalent of the Metroid E-Tank in this game with the with basically that thing that I just used. It's basically the exact same thing. Damn it! I'm trying to use the trying to leverage the dodge roll that you get, but this is gonna be close.
I said if Cuphead ever got co-op one day, we could have a go at it together on it.
I definitely am down to try that. Like, I had so much fun with Cuphead.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh man, there we go. Whew! One of the typical tropes that I have with a Megaman game is this thing where I get down to my last little like pellet of health, and this game apparently is no different. I just met my trope of bringing a match down to like the very last pellet of health that I had. So right here is kind of the main introduction of Teaselbon, who is kind of the captain of all of these pirates.
Just trying to see if there's any other Metroid mods out there.
One of the Metroid mods I'm probably going to try at some point is the randomization one. There's also another one that I found recently called the Metroid Arcade mod. That one actually kind of turns it turns the whole entire game into this sort of randomly generated dungeon where you go through a door and it'll take you into a different area. And the best way to describe it is exactly what the game is called, which is, like, it turns it into an arcade style game. So right here's an artist's depiction of me saving the city with, very heavy quotation marks on save.
For a quick look. There we go.
And you'll have to tune into the stream at some point whenever I'm actually like kind of streaming these guys talking and going through the cutscenes and stuff, because Teasel has an absolutely just wonderful voice that I don't get to show off very easily here.
It's obvious that I, Teaselbon, will have to assume command. Who needs that key anyway?
So basically, we warded off the attack for now, and basically, they got completely destroyed by this little boy wearing blue armor, and have basically decided, oh well, we'll just go and continue to do other things instead of mess with this city.
Wait a sec. Bong's probably okay, but what about Tron?
He also has like the most amazing hairstyle ponytail thing in the back.
Mission complete.
Oh, the guy you ran into, the one with the reddish eyes.
Yep.
You did
Did
it.
look a bit weird though.
Come on, let's go look for Gramps.
So whenever I get out of the out of the mayor's office here, one of the things that I can actually do at this point now, and this is the other part of how kind of doing better at these parts affects the game. In order to repair the city, I can donate money that I make to repairing the city.
And how much would that be?
I can't remember exactly what it is, but it actually is pretty pricey, especially for how much I kind of lost. I think the police station might have got demolished, and you have to redo like pretty much all of the buildings.
Oh no, not the police station.
The mayor's office, thankfully, is not in too terrible repair. So we just got our ability to actually properly dig in the actual ruins in the city.
What?
Okay, here we go. I'll clear through the northern forest kind of event here, and then I'll use that as kind of my stopping point as whenever I go into the dungeon. And that should put us relatively on track for my usual kind of 2-hour stream policy.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of talking to all the people here to make sure that I don't miss something and have to go back through. I think if I talk to her, she'll actually introduce the idea of
You just walk right through it. Well, it looks like it there.
Alright, I think I'm good to... Okay, wait a minute. Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
she's going with you.
So,
Hey, you're another party member.
Look, Megaman.
So basically, this is kind of one of the other big things in this particular game is you have this little truck that you use as your fast travel device. It's also where you can develop your weapons and items and stuff. So, it's, for me, this little truck is part of a staple of the series, even though I think this is really the only game that it actually shows up in.
If they're using not to. Well,
So basically, this is Megaman saying, hey, we're gonna go and mess them up.
Oh god.
Alright, where is that at now? I need to go and desperately recharge my health and, develop some weapons and stuff. Here we go. So the first things first, let's talk to Data and just energy recharge while I'm thinking about it. So if I talk to her, I can develop new weapons and new items and stuff. And I can also upgrade the weapons as well, which I won't be putting too much into the what am I trying to say? Into the mines necessarily, because I don't really like them at all. So if we go to item development, she'll look through all of the items that I have and make something out of them. So I don't have anything.
I wasn't
that she
able to
can-
make anything.
Yeah, so unfortunately I won't be able to really do anything like that for
How
right
could
now.
this happen to me? I made my mess. Nah. I'd actually put on the up, but I'm worried about the copyright stuff.
Like how
It
YouTube
actually
pretty
counts.
much throws a copyright onto anything that remotely is related to
Nintendo.
Metroid.
Nintendo.
And like for me, it's not too
Copyright.
big of a deal because obviously I'm not too concerned about like monetization, but I do kind of get annoyed that they get to make a buck off of me streaming their games for them essentially. But that's neither here nor there for me. Okay, so this is kind of like the last event I'm going to do in this particular episode, and it's this kind of action scene where we're basically fighting our way up to the ruins that were supposed to be stopping them from raiding. So once again, like in the typical strategy that you'll see in this game, those tanks' turrets don't really turn as fast as they can.
Yeah, I could
Versus
tell
you
that they
running.
looked absolutely flawless. You just run random in a circle, you already got it sorted.
And that that's one of the reasons that like I also wanted to kind of like make this particular like playthrough of this game like as I'm going through. That's why I'll probably be spending at least like some amount of time just like having certain episodes where I'm just kind of like having other people on the channel and talking to them and whatnot. Because a lot of the boss fights and a lot of the kind of significant events in this game are all resolved just by strafe and run.
What would you say is the worst Mega Man?
The worst one? Oh man.
Yeah, the worst of the worst. One that despises you the most.
I'm trying to think of if there's any that I can think of that I actually have like a distaste for, and like the closest one I can think of is the one I actually haven't played, which is Megaman X7. That one basically tried to do this sort of like 2D and 3D combination thing that 100% did not work out at all. They pretty much like they tried to mix the two, and like the 2D sections and the 3D sections were really not complementary to each other at all.
Well, that's what you gotta do then. If you want to make your stream more entertaining, what you gotta do, you gotta play something you don't like.
Oh man,
and then the watchers get to see our reaction to you just absolutely despising the game as you go on.
I've thought about doing that a couple of times, and I have like one of the things I did in the past I've mentioned before is this thing that I call the ROM roulette. Me and a friend basically would go through, at the time we did, I believe, Emu Paradise. And what we did was we picked, like, we went through, like, a series of, like, dice rolls to kind of determine this. But we basically did, like, which letter to start on. And then, like, we did, like, some sort of thing where we determined, like, a random game on there to play. And like we were gonna spend like an hour like doing that. And we were gonna make a big series out of like doing that constantly. And like the same thing happened to that kind of essentially happened to the Chrono Trigger play, unfortunately. But it's something that I have thought about trying to like restart on my own and basically like maybe do like a once a month thing where I just go through Emu Paradise and just find some random ass game and just see if it's actually good. One of the first games that we actually ended up doing on there with it was this game called Skulljagger, I believe. And it pretty much ended up being like this Super Nintendo pirate platformer where you used like different fruits to actually you used fruits to kind of accomplish like different platforming goals, and it was just like this like whole there was like and I know I just said fruit, but like you used bubble gum to kind of float up. You used like grapes or something to kind of add like extra kind of oh god, what am I trying to say? Like to kind of add extra kind of platforming elements and stuff like that. I just picked up a flak jacket, by the way, which is like the first armor upgrade, so I should take a little bit less damage. And now I'm just buying these little things here, basically to increase my buster and kind of boost it.
With your arm cannon?
Yep.
Oh, at least you're getting that upgraded then. This is some empty rooms, Evan.
They're basically hiding out because the pirates have pretty much come through here and are trying to fuck all over them right now. Let's see, the sniper unit is energy and range. I'm not too concerned about range, so I'll use the power razor. Like the whole entire premise of like the kind of playing around with this game is you have all these buster parts that you can buy. And that's pretty much what I was playing around with there is you can kind of boost up your buster and I got the flak jacket on now, so whenever I take damage, it's gonna hurt a lot less.
So it's a bit like the Faria suit and gravity suit from Metroid, where you take less damage.
Although I think the difference with this one is that you can't really switch between them necessarily, so I think that's like the one.
You can't keep them forever?
I do keep them forever, but like I can't like unequip them like you could in Metroid.
Oh, so like once you equip it, it's stuck.
Yeah.
Stuck on.
But I mean, like for this game, there's no reason not to like have on the flak jacket because it is straight up like damage reduction. Period.
It's like saying getting your fingers caught in a finger trap. It's hard to get it. You can't get off.
I mean, like with those, you can kind of squeeze your fingers together and get it out, but that's beside the point.
I was just, I don't know what I was doing, to be honest. I suppose I never had one of them and I never will.
I've like in the past I've owned at least like a couple of them, and like they're novel for about like 5 minutes and then you get bored.
I could say the same thing about fidget spinners.
I honestly don't know how fidget spinners caught on. Like, I heard about those and like I saw them and like I got annoyed with them because a coworker of mine was actually using one during like an 8-hour long meeting that we had for like a training session, and he was just spinning this thing like mad, and it does that really subtle like ball bearing spin noise. And I just like I was so.
Oh, you know that moment when, you know how you're trying to make a game and you've been waiting for your co-developer to get the voice thing up people, and then it turns out they have a bad quality mic.
Oh man.
Now you gotta wait longer.
I mean, like the closest thing that I have to that is I do a D&D kind of, I wouldn't really call it a podcast, but like I do basically like a D&D kind of thing that I upload to the channel as well with some people. And one of the people that's in the group, like, you know, like he's trying so hard, and like I respect him for even like, you know, like trying as hard as he has. But he has a very bad quality mic that kind of goes in and out really badly, and you know, like we've emphasized to him several times before, hey, you know, it would be appreciative, you know, for the quality of of us, you know, like uploading this to the channel and everything, like so people can actually listen to this. If you would kindly like upgrade your microphone for us. Or at least, like, get rid of, like, the random cutouts that he would get, which he has resolved that, thankfully. Oh, man, I just realized, like, in doing this, like, you know, like, I am giving one more boss fight for this because the next boss coming up is actually pretty fun. I think it's, like, the one time that the meta for it changes away from strafe and jump.
Oh, him again. Ponytail Man. Spiky Ponytail Man.
Teasel is just so wonderful. Like his strategy with this, with kind of doing this, is he took this giant constructor, like, you know, like this kind of giant shovel, and is trying to dig into the ruins rather than go through the tunnel. Like, he doesn't have a pass. He's a pirate. So he's trying to essentially dig, like physically dig into the ruins.
I have a nickname for these old designed characters.
What's that?
People with too much gel on their hair.
And it's just anime.
It's kind of true.
Mission start.
All right. So This fight could take me a couple of tries. Like, I haven't done this one a whole lot, but essentially what I have to try to do is ah, damn, I can't do it from here. I have to try to get on top of him and, you know, basically do stuff with that. So what I will do is, there we go. I'm trying to, like, basically damage his treads so that I can jump up there.
Mate. Oh, I thought it was to not make him move.
Yep. Although he is absolutely destroying me with spirit bombs right now, and that is not going to do
This is Dragon Ball now. Spirit bombs.
And he is shooting giant balls of energy at me. I don't think I can make that jump. Nope. Alright. I can't remember how to actually get up there to him, so I'm probably going to throw this round and basically try to figure out the path I need to go to get up there, which I believe is this way. Yep, I can see it now. And this one's going to hit me, and I'm basically dead. Maybe this guy will drop some energy. My health bar is the item, or the bar there on the left that is flashing red, which means that my armor is broken. And also, oh god, it has like not even a pellet left in it. So
I can't even see it properly.
Okay, that tread is actually broken. Okay, I can't really do anything about the treads anymore, so
Now it's all about luck.
pretty much, like, if I can get up there and if I can just, like, get, like, a good, like, burn on, you know, the hatch, then I'll be good. But I thoroughly predict he's just going to snipe me with an energy ball here.
But that moment when it's a tracking one, you know it's by you, but you won't be able to do anything. It's hard to miss tracking stuff.
Oh boy. Alright, here we go. This is my chance.
Yay.
And I think I'm down. Yep. I literally had one hit left, so I really didn't expect that to go anywhere. But luckily you get a save point.
Yourself off?
So he released something in, like, you know, he released something at me, and like little serve bots will come out of there and they'll drop bombs from out there as well. So I think one of those just kind of clipped me and I died.
And just a single tap at that health could kill you.
Alright, so we'll... luckily this game does let you, like, skip a lot of the cutscenes and stuff, so I should be able to kind of get back into position quickly.
Well, thank goodness for that, otherwise we'd be sat there forever.
Oh god, I can't remember what game it was that I played, like, a while back, but, I remember I was playing this one game a while back where, it had, like, an unskippable cutscene in it, basically. Like, it really did not like you, to skip, like, this particular cutscene, and it was just miserable. Okay, that's the way out. I'm trying to keep an eye on him so I can kind of see when he's charging up the spirit bomb. Alright, we are up at the top. I hear it. Damn it.
Oh, I see the health now.
Yeah, it's easier to see whenever I actually have something resembling a health bar to actually, like, compare
Know
it
what
to.
it is.
Oh, God, I need to stop jumping for that. I think that's what's screwing me with that, is it's getting too close to me whenever that happens. So yeah, like right there is him releasing stuff out of the hatch there.
I guess that's what got in your way from last time.
There we go.
So you gotta wait for it to open.
Yep. Oh, he's trying to slap me off, so I'll just... Okay, he's kind of denying me a little bit to getting back up there, but we'll be fine.
Getting close.
At this point, it's just a matter of not getting spirit bombed. Oh man, here it comes. Whew. I didn't see that one at all.
Some ultra instinct right there.
And there we go.
There we go. Damn, what realistic explosions. I'm kidding.
I'm gonna just stay away
But,
from this.
How could a little punk like that ever defeat me?
That's the entire like premise of this, is just they constantly have underestimated him.
It's because you're a kid.
It took the Batman a long time to get past him. I wouldn't feel bad about that. Like, honestly, whenever I first played this game, it took me a long time to get through a lot of these bosses as well. I got stuck on the Tronbon boss fight for a long time.
You're just gonna let him go. You just gonna let him go.
Yeah, you know, Mega Man in this game is innocent. Like, he's just this like, curious child who's just trying to stop these guys from being bullies. Like,
Look at his face. He looks so doped. He looks like he didn't have a clue what's happening.
and he really doesn't. Like, he's pretty clueless through this whole entire thing, and like that's
Is
once
he
again.
a kid? Is he a kid through the entire series?
Through this one, yes. Through the Mega Man, like kind of what I call like the classic and X series, he kind of goes through a process where he grows up. Like, classic Mega Man is kind of commonly regarded as a child. X is
I'm
actually.
concerned about something now.
What's that?
His name is Megaman, and he's a tiny child.
Well, you know, like this big robot master or anything like that. He was just like a helper bot.
Roger.
Okay, heading back to City Hall. There we go. So yeah, whenever I get to the next save point, I'll save it. But yeah, like he wasn't intended to always be like a robot master. He was just kind of this helper bot that was trying to just do the right thing. So they're having a meeting about what just happened, and basically saying, yeah, we got pretty rocked back there. We should.
Yeah, we got our butts kicked.
Let's see. It took me a long time to get past all of them, but it took me a lot of years to get past Juno, the last boss. I remember getting past Juno, but I won't even pretend like back then that
Paper airplane.
I spent a lot of time grinding that game, so I didn't have quite as bad of a time as I should have. You get the shining laser, basically, which is like the best weapon, and it pretty much makes him easy mode. Fighting him legitimately did take me a lot of time to get through, because holy shit, like, the bosses in this game, like, as you've seen, like, they don't have a whole lot of depth to them, but like they still manage to do a lot of damage to you.
I see.
So basically, at this point, we saved the ruins from being destroyed by the pirates, and now the mayor is kind of like, can you go in there and, you know, like explore the caves and see what's kind of going on? The Reaver bots are those robots that I fought in the first dungeon, and basically, you know, like those have been kind of increasing in activity for a little while now, so we just got a promotion to our license to actually get into those ruins. And that's kind of the way that this game, like, you know, soft gates you through, like, you know, sequence breaking, like, a big chunk of the content. That as well as just making you not able to get the items that you need, so... basically, like, at this point of the game, they want you to kind of explore around and, like, you know, go into the ruins and see if you can find anything. And now I'm trying to donate to the Reconstruction Fund. And there
Oh
we
my
go.
god. Never mind, I won't pay. I want to try and help millions of people to try and get the buildings back.
Oh, okay, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of money, so I'll just give them that much for right now. That's going to be like an ongoing thing that I'll be working on with the, you know, kind of the
Going back
progression
from
of
time
this
to
game.
time.
Yeah, like whenever I like finish like exploring dungeons, I'll probably go and like, you know, chunk some money into that. Okay, here's a good place to kind of wrap up.
Oh boy! I'm sorry. It's me yawning.
So I got the safety helmet while I was going around like fighting the tanks and stuff. So now we actually have the Mega Man helmet, the iconic, helmet.
Yeah.
And it actually has like a lot of kind of things that it does for you. Like it's more than just a it's a lot more than just a helmet that you wear. It actually prevents knockdown. It does like a lot of stuff like that to kind of help you out with, like just dealing with enemies. So it's actually extremely valuable to have on at all times from this point.
Oh.
I'm going to save my data
that's
here
the
and then I'll
reason for
show... Yep. I'm going to showcase the helmet before I end the stream, but like I am pretty much at a definitive point where that actually lasted closer to 2 hours than I initially thought it would. Oh, wow. Okay, so I completely lied earlier, by the way. You need to equip the
What?
stuff.
Wait, what?
The armor doesn't actually show up. Like, the armor, like, I equipped it now, so I actually did that boss fight probably taking more damage than I should have.
Oh.
But here's the iconic helmet now, and it looks different from kind of the rest of the series, but I kind of like the way that it looks. It's kind of hard to get a good look at it, unfortunately, given this camera system. Yeah, I thought I might be able to kind of clip in like to a building or something to see it. There we go.
Looks better.
Let me go ahead and just go and save with all this stuff equipped so I don't forget. But do you have any like anything else that you want to kind of say before I wrap up the stream and close down?
Meep.
You. What a way to end it.
Yes.
So thanks, thanks a lot for kind of coming on and everything. Like, I definitely appreciate it. As I'm playing through this series, I'll probably use this as an opportunity. Like, I might have you on again. I might have like different people on. So,
It's fun.
Please look forward to it. And thanks again, Mick, for taking the time to kind of come on here and just like shoot the shit with me while I fail at Mega Man Legends.
It was fun.
All right, I'll see you guys later.